Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Unquestioned Podcast with Debaere and Willem Himpe. And we are back at it. So, Luigi, I don't want to say, but I have to say it. It looks like you're in Ghent, but tell me, I know you were not in Ghent.
I fooled you.
The last couple of
got
weeks.
Back from Spain this time after my Thailand extravaganza. I went to a wedding in Spain. Ceremony on the beach. Sand between my toes, wearing my tux as a new experience.
Wow.
It was great. Would recommend having the sea there, even if stuff goes wrong, which nothing went wrong. I thought to myself, the sea is there, the perfect scenery. The
An
best
amazing
things in life really are
sunset.
free. Yeah,
Amazing
exactly.
sunset in between the couple. They're saying yes to each other.
Yeah, the sunset, it wasn't at the sunset, but just the idea, the chairs are on this just beautiful empty piece of beach with the waves crashing as
Well, for the listeners as well, for some reason, I don't know if anyone cares, but I would as well pick an eloped, let's say, wedding. For some reason, in Belgium, it's traditional to have like a big wedding, or not massive like in other, like in Turkey or in other cultures, but or in India, it's more, in Belgium, you have to like as well do the invite of the friends of your parents and maybe
right
business people, and like you have to show off a little bit, like we did do a nice wedding. But I really like a small eloped, really your core people, your group of 10 people that are the closest to you, and really enjoy an amazing weekend with the celebration
le
of
petit
your
comité
marriage.
de Willem. I hope I'll
Oui,
be
le
part of
petit
that.
comité. Who knows?
I'll be officiating. I'll have my
You'll be officiating. Well, then I'll definitely want to see your text that you say beforehand, that you don't say anything wrong. My future
damn
wife.
it. You got me. As
Don't
long as
know
your
yet.
vows are not written by ChatGPT, we're good.
Okay. Well, maybe I feel like I still want to know where would you want to be married?
Italy.
In Italy? Lake Como? The classic where a lot of Americans go?
I'm gonna want to go a little bit more like less famous. So probably, well, not still Sorrento is pretty well known. Sorrento or Napoli, so Gulf of Napoli.
Okay, but these are problems for the futures. We'll see. We first need to buy our partner a ring, and hopefully they say yes. That's maybe the first challenge before arranging a wedding. Okay, to the listeners, like this episode is going to be a fun topic. To immediately say it's obsession. So I've been as well recently a little bit more obsessed about obsession, the importance of it in people, the importance of it when you are striving to find a solution as a company, as an organization, as a community. And it's becoming as well in culture, or I mean in startups and founders, I see it's becomes a much more important reason to exist, or a reason that I feel like there needs to be obsession to excel in this world today. So I would maybe start
not
off.
always though. So jump in. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say.
I have an anecdote that I wanted to just get your take on, is because you're a bit of a dating expert.
Bit of a dating expert.
Not pickup line per se, or yeah, my pickup line, both like on Tinder and in real life, used to be, what is something that you're obsessed about?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because Americans have this amazing expression, what makes you tick? That's what I want to know. And it's like a shortcut, kind of. Maybe I used it too early. Maybe I need to warm up and say, how are you? But no, I'm like, I need to.
Yes, it's a bit strange if you go in a bar and you say, what's your obsession?
Yeah, and I don't want to hear about your goldfish collection in detail per se, but I want to see like your soul speak. I want to hear about the thing that you can talk about for hours and see the passion. And the funny thing is that isn't always appreciated or seen as something good, because I remember asking this question to someone and she was like, obsessions are toxic.
Yeah.
And the conversation didn't last very long, but I understand where she's coming from though, which is that sometimes the kind of hustle mentality and the idea of being obsessed by something or someone, it can be unhealthy. So I just want to give that like counterbalance. And I want to know if you think that's a great pickup line and what you think.
I think it's like you said, it's not for the first date, but a bit later. It's
Okay.
a good conversations, let's say expander or starter of the third date. But one thing actually I wanted to share. So both of you and I, we were educated in Belgium, and I still remember when I was very little. I think I was 7 or something, and in the classroom the teacher says anything with two is bad. So
Too much
too
or
much, like yeah.
yeah.
In Dutch we just say so too much to drink, too much money, too poor, or too little money. That's always bad.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way you could say as well, like working too much, for example, is bad. But if you have an obsession, very likely it correlates with working too much. And an example here is Bill Gates. He often, in a recent interview as well, said like, my competitors were often and other family members saying, you work too much, you work too much. But if he just worked just as much as people like 9 to 5 would expect him to, he would not build a massive empire like Microsoft. This too much, this obsession did maybe break certain things and made something bad, why some people see it bad, but it also brought a lot of good things to the world, to him and his family. So that's kind of, I found like, I was just thinking like,
I love that you bring that up. So excess, the quote from the teacher is excess, anything in excess is always bad. And of course our minds immediately go to alcoholics, or even healthy, like too much water will kill you. But the key word there to hone in on it is who's deciding what is too much. And a big disclaimer, a big caveat I want to put with work is that, and Bill Gates is a good example, it doesn't have to be like that forever. That's what something people always obviously look over. Like when they see somebody work long hours, like we sometimes do, like they say, oh, that's unhealthy. You should stop that right away. And like, it's like the most beautiful thing about my life right now is that I'm reaping the benefits of being obsessed and of being more interested in work in a more intense way than is probably healthy. But now I can have normal 9 to 5 working hours, and I'm very pleased with that. It doesn't have to, yeah. You can balance. Like you could be unbalanced, but it doesn't have to be to last.
Well, maybe that's a good reflection, like for the listeners. What is your obsession, Louis? If you wanna share maybe a little thing that you feel like maybe recently or throughout your life you have been obsessed about, and maybe I'll share it as well, and maybe for the listeners it's fun to hear.
Yeah, I have a couple. Let's start with a work one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm constantly thinking, and maybe a lot of software engineers are, how I can basically eliminate my job.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if the tool
Eliminate
existed,
yourself by the same.
yeah. If something existed that would replace me, replace the keystrokes, or replace the decisions I make, or not particularly the decisions, but of course, obviously, always the boring manual tasks, then I would love to be the one to remove my job from existence, just like certain manual jobs don't exist anymore. And the thing is, the funny thing is, without me doing anything about it, a lot of my job is actually already eliminated. Thanks to ChatGPT, there's a lot of like research, Googling that we no longer have to do. But still, to make it more detailed, more clear, it's UI, user interface in particular. I think it should be as easy to create an interface like an app
Mm-hmm.
or a website. The websites are less, apps are more my as easy. That should be as easy as creating a Facebook post or
Mm-hmm.
even setting up a Shopify site. That should be all the effort that is required to make a beautiful app like Spotify or Google Maps, like something nice for users. And that's not the case today. I'm
Mm-hmm.
still required, which is kind of good because I get paid. But if that job goes away, I would like to be the one to make it go
Yeah.
away.
Okay. To summarize, so you are a software developer at a big company like Spotify, and you feel like it's like an obsession of yours, or it's annoying to see how so many people like you do a lot of coding and programming, manual stuff, which you would love to see get rid of, that any person could just say, hey, I want an amazing Spotify looking app, but it is for my movies and my personal, I don't know, recordings.
From scratch, let's say, or make changes like the changes that I make, which are sometimes ridiculously small changes that still require, and it's a paradox because I question every little task I have to do every day, but at the same time, a lot of it is already automated. And now I want to hear about your work obsession, if you have one.
Specifically in work, I was thinking about it before this episode, a work and a personal one. The work one is kind of building in the sense of I love building something that doesn't exist yet. So a bit how Peter Thiel, which is a famous investor in San Francisco, is from 0 to 1. So when something doesn't exist and thinking of ways this is a problem, how can we build something that can solve it? I've been doing it once I started my startup journey, but I've as well been doing it in my own corporate job by trying to automate, trying to build certain solutions that make my life easier, of our customers easier. And the reason why that's kind of an obsession, because it's a fun iterative process that you see. It's each time it compounds, it gets better, it's improved, and it's kind of amazing with which day and age that we're living right now in with technology. It's possible to, for example, your obsession to make that a realization. Maybe not yet today, but soon. And the same is with the startup. Today, it's possible to build a small company that can fully be running by itself, that is solving a problem, which in the past it was not possible because the economy was not ready for it, let's say. And that's kind of my obsession is in building things and getting money for it, but mainly as well getting that flywheel going of constantly listening to our customers, improving it, making a better interface, which means visual, how your software looks to people, and it just keeps giving me energy, and it drives my obsession.
But do you need new projects though to give you energy, or would you be fine with one rocket ship that takes off that is all yours?
The one thing that I've preferably one rocket ship that's all yours. The only thing is you have to as well learn sometimes to let go of things. Like I started my startup in the funeral sector, where it was also some software, and you could say like I completely obsessed and I really wanna solve this. But if you realize very quickly, okay, does this match with me? Is this really my obsession, or am I just obsessed by building a company? And so the rocket ship, you have to really be in love with the problem and really wanna solve it, and then it will still be very, very painful to solve it, but that's kind of the way going forward to be able to succeed, if that makes sense.
So not only question the substance of the thing that compels you, that you want to pursue, but also question your motives of why you want to go all in on this, like on funerals, for example.
Yes. So to keep that same example, is like for me, I was not, let's say, in love with the whole process of funerals and how to automate it and all of that. I loved building a company and building software to solve solutions in that industry, but I was not really in love with the industry. And then it kind of pivoted and moved forward, and I started more and more into the photos and memories business of even more niche and specifically in events. And then I really kind of like, this is amazing. There's so many things that can be approved, and you feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper in the issues that are going on. And then as well, you solve something, you certainly get rewards in revenue, in customers that are happy, and then you get that flywheel going. So yeah, and that's kind of what my
at least
my first...
like now you gave it like I know you gave it a serious shot. It's not like it keeps lingering on your mind. What if, and you wouldn't have gotten to the newfound love for a celebration and other ways to bring people together, right?
Yes, and you need kind of it will still be, if you're building something or if you have an obsession, any obsession, it will still break you down. You'll encounter no motivation to continue with your obsession, which you want to use as a breadwinner or a winner for your family, for example. But you have to keep keep pushing until you finally find a diamond or finally go over the hill that you need to go over. So yeah.
Yeah, well put.
But
Well put. Yeah.
maybe your second. I think I don't know
My
how much.
second, what's something? Oh, yeah. So I'm actually recently gotten more and more concerned about preserving my purchasing power, meaning I don't want my savings to erode due to inflation. Now, I know this gets technical, but I think a lot of people, like I think property rights, owning things like your home and other things, and owning the stuff that you save, the surplus that you create every month, you put something aside. Not losing that is very important, and I think the biggest taboo that exists is inflation and how it hurts us. Classic example is people sell their house after 20, 30 years or even a shorter amount of time. And they say, oh, I bought it for that amount and now it's worth this amount. Look at how much money I made. People think that houses appreciate in value, but that's not the case. Your house may be worth slightly more, but what's definitely worth less are your euros, your currency, your dollars, your euros. And a quick rule of thumb, because I would just want to spread awareness around this and educate a little bit, is a rule of 72,
Mm-hmm.
which says if somebody gives you an interest rate like that you would get on your bank accounts, like say 3%, now that means if you have 100 euros after a year, you'll have 103, 3%. The rule of 72 tells you how long it takes for your money to double.
Mm-hmm.
So you could simply divide 72 by 3, which will give you 24, right? So in 24 years with a 3% interest rate, because compounding, the eighth wonder of the world, you'll have doubled your money. But what a lot of people don't realize is it also works in the other direction. Due to inflation, if you have an inflation rate of 3%, you've lost half of what they call your purchasing power, which is simply the same amount of goods you can buy. Meaning, in our lifetime, since we were born, we've lost a little bit over half of our purchasing power. Meaning, a cappuccino today costs 4 euros, used to cost 2 euros. So, with the same euros, you can buy less bread and less eggs.
Mm-hmm.
See, I immediately go on a
Yeah, but
story
it's nice to see.
because I'm, yeah, as you can tell. But give me yours and your take on this, and then your next obsession.
One small take is like a lot of people forget about this. A lot of people think, I'm in putting my money in my savings and I get 1%, so I'm not losing money.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if you look deeper into the details, you actually see that with inflation you're losing money. And for me, that realization, I had it a little bit in high school, but it became bigger in university because I studied economics, and there you kind of see where they look at interest rates in big banks and central banks that provide the money supply, and there you speak of nominal interest rate and real interest rates, and these are like compensated by interest, and that is sometimes as well a completely different look on the economy if you look like that, how money erodes in a way
Yeah,
if you
I just
don't.
find it crazy how like a lot of people are educated as economists, or they have a store, so they see that they have to raise the price, and still, I think it's natural when you talk about something. If I say this costs 10 euros, nobody asks, "Oh, you mean euros?" Or you mean 2035
Mm-hmm.
euros? And it is such a big difference. Like the only deflationary force we really have is technology.
Mm-hmm.
The iPhone is actually getting, if you think it's increasing in price, it's, it's staying the same, or even getting cheaper. A MacBook that used to cost 1,000 euros, that 1,000 euros was harder. You had to work more for that than you have
Mm-hmm.
to work for it today. And the MacBook does more. So the technology, thank God, is deflationary.
Mm-hmm. And like, to go over my second obsession, that's maybe connected to that. My second obsession is being uncomfortable. And it's weird.
Explain.
Of
Yeah.
being uncomfortable and pain. So why first of all, why is that my obsession? Very short is I love being in pain or in uncomfortable situation, because I know I will become a better version of it, a better version for myself, better version for my family, the world, and so on. And one thing I kind of realized while you were saying is money erodes. If you just, for example, don't evolve and stay in the comfort zone, and you just, let's say, I just keep this €100 bill for the rest of my life. When you're, let's say, 100 years later, and you just stayed comfortable, just holding on to that €100 or $100 and didn't do anything, then you'll be a lot poorer, have not grew how the world further, and you'll be, because you stayed in a comfort zone, it actually makes you in the long run very, very uncomfortable.
Comfort zone. I have something to say. Does that mean what you just said is you want to keep expanding your comfort zone through pain and through new experiences? That's what you were saying, yeah?
Correct. In a way, it's how I see it visually. People is like you have your little circle in the beginning, and that is kind of your comfort zone. And every time if you go out, if it's now physically out of your city, if it's now outside of a workout, doing more push-ups, then you do that. You have a lot of pain, but now your comfort zone is just a little bit bigger, and now you know what else you can do. For example, I ran a marathon 2 years ago, and I was like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was able to do a marathon. 1 year later, I did an ultra marathon of 100 kilometers. So suddenly it's like my comfort zone becomes even bigger. And now I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to push for a shorter period than I did last time. And this is kind of, I see amazing. I feel that that's amazing, and I feel like more and more people should embrace it. And a bit in my generation, we've been growing up of not embracing pain, not embracing uncomfortable situations. Everyone gets a medal and so on, and it's changing a little bit. But
you're certainly setting an example. The kids don't go for the ultra marathon right away.
No. Start with the first.
Don't try this at home. Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of my second obsession. And how can I actively in this world that is constantly evolving and making us more comfortable? One click and you have food here, one click and anything gets arranged for you. How can I put myself in positions where I'm not being comfortable? Because that is in a way one of the only ways I feel like to make myself a better version.
Thriving on discomfort. Let's end this by asking, or having you ask yourself, dear listener, how can you maybe make your life slightly different and new? And who knows, maybe in a week it will become the new normal.
Correct. And a second thing I would want to add as well, look inwards in what is my or your obsession, and don't be afraid of it. If it's drinking, then maybe don't go too much. But obsession in a good sense, if you listen to this podcast, don't shy away from it and dare to dig deep. So if you guys enjoyed this episode of the Unquestioned Podcast, and we'll see you back with another episode of the Unquestioned Path.
Yes,
let's do it. Bye.